Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about cat feed and cat kibble and why that might not be the best choice for your cat. What we're going to do is talk about what we have in kibble, what you see in kibble, and why that isn't necessarily a complete diet for your cat or the best diet for your cat. Let's dive in, shall we? Why kibble isn't the best choice for your cat. Let's dive in. So we see this cat enjoying kibble, which a lot of cats actually just don't. Most cats don't enjoy kibble, but they eat it anyways because that's the only thing provided. So what I'm going to do in this talk is talk you through why kibble isn't the best of choice. We have two cats, or we had two cats, unfortunately 2 years ago. Our smallest cat, our youngest cat, died, and we've got our 16-year-old still with us. Well, they both have been raised on kibble because that was the easy choice, and that was what everybody recommended, right? I mean, that's why we did that. And I'll talk you through some of the health issues we went through that, looking back, we can attribute to kibble, unfortunately. So if we had given them other things to eat, they might have a healthier life. So that's why I'm here. Why is kibble so popular? Well, because it has a long shelf life. You can find it anywhere. You can find it in the supermarket. Okay, that might not be the best quality kibble. None of the kibble is actually great quality, but still. So you can find it everywhere. And it's easy because you don't have to think about what to feed your cat. You just give them like a cup of their kibble and it's done. It stays there the whole day and that's it. You don't have to think about it. But let's think about it because that is so important. I mean, we are, for ourselves, we're more and more conscious about this highly processed food, which isn't healthy for us. Well, it isn't for our cats either. And kibble is highly processed. It's very highly processed. So yeah, that's something that we need to change, you know. So that is why kibble is so popular. Plus, it's recommended by everyone. Your vet will also recommend it, which I think is absurd. But still, a lot of vets recommend it because they learn so in school. It's a complete diet. That's it. Good. All right. So I'm here to bust that bubble, which I find fun to do. I have to admit. So let's see. What can you really find in those kibble diets? Cats are carnivores, obligatory. Yeah, carnivores. So they have to have meat. They have to eat meat. Their whole meals should be planned around meat. They will be seen eating grass, but they will never come across, when they're in the wild, I mean, they will never come across a cornfield and think, a lot of corn, let's eat some corn. That's not going to happen. Other grains that they come across, they're not going to eat that. Never going to eat that for themselves. If they have the choice, they won't eat it. And if we see at this ingredient list, which is an ingredient list from a highly recommended veterinary diet for renal and bladder issues. So in this ingredient list, by the way, counts for us as well, for our food as well. What is the first in the list means that there is most of in the processed food. So in this kibble, it starts with grains. Grains. So we don't know what grains. Might be corn, might be wheat, might be rice. We're not sure. Grains. This is completely legal, by the way. This is correct to display it like this. So yeah, regulatory. This is okay, especially in Belgium and in Europe. I'm not sure in the US, it might be different, but in general, this is okay. So grains, we don't know what. Then meat and meat derivatives. Chicken, 14%. If you know that, so normally cats would eat meat, let's say for 90% of the time, then 14% chicken is nothing. So there's not a lot of food for them in there. Not a good food source. The meat and meat derivatives, what we can see is usually that it is scrap meat, so it comes from next to the bone, which has low nutritional value. It has some nutritional value, but very low. But okay, that's what's there. Probably there's still other meats there, but they would mention them. If they mention 14% of chicken, they might also put other meats there if they are there. Vegetable protein extract. We don't know which vegetable from which plant or which vegetable or fruit or whatever. No, we don't know. Oils and fats. Also, these will probably be vegetable oils and fats. Otherwise, it would be mentioned. More likely, they would be mentioned if they are from meats. They come from meats. Minerals, not specified, but doesn't have to be. Milk and milk derivatives. My milk hydrolysate, which means that it is cut into little protein thingies that the body cannot recognize as such. Cats are lactose intolerant, so milk and milk derivatives in a veterinary diet, yeah. And then we see wheat and shellfish. So I think we can agree that this kibble doesn't provide a whole lot of nutritional value for our cats. The grains, especially if corn and wheat was used, then they're very high in carbohydrates, and that's something a cat actually doesn't need, or not that high of. We do need it as humans, but our cats don't need it, not as much. This means that they're usually quite high in sugar, and it makes there will be an insulin peak, which is also not so great. So yeah, what we get from feeding with our cats kibble is that we have some wellness challenges. Our youngest cat, Lola, was 9 years old when she died 2 years ago. And she died of a tumor, 4x4, on her thymus, which means thymoma. It's close to the heart. So a 4x4 tumor in a cat is just huge. It's a chest tumor, so we couldn't operate, or it was recommended against operating. Surgery, no surgery. So we decided to let her go. We had to decide to let her go. Later on, when I learned more about this, I attributed all of this to a very poor diet, which she had been on until she was around 7, let's say. Then I started to see the light and started changing, but it was already too late. We didn't know the tumor was there. We couldn't see that. But it was most likely it was already there when we changed the diet. And plus, the body cannot change that like that. I mean, it can get better food, but it still has to process the damage. The damage is done, right? Uh, our Shaggy had bladder and renal issues. He got a veterinary diet for that, which didn't work actually. So um, all the bladder stones kept on coming, kept on growing, kept on developing so badly that we had to make a very hard decision to amputate his penis so that he could go to the toilet and just urinate, which obviously was major surgery. But okay, he came out okay. He's 16 now, so he adjusted well after that surgery. Surgery was, I think, when he was 4 or 5 years old, if I remember correctly. So yeah, Lola in her lifetime had some weight challenges. She was on a premium diet and later on a weight management diet, and she kept on getting bigger and bigger. So big that she couldn't even jump up on the table anymore. And we were giving her very, very, very low doses of what she was required to have each day. So yeah, when we started to see the light and change her diet to other things, she lost weight. She was a fantastic cat. She looked very well. She was very handsome. Um, but yeah, she had her weight challenges. Neither of our cats had oral health issues, but they're also attributed to Kibble, because Kibble will not clean teeth, no matter what veterinarians or other caretakers or producers of kibble will try to sell you. It will not. We also don't clean our teeth by eating crisps, right? Um, so yeah, that's logical that we have these issues. But what can we do in the diet of our cat to give a better food, give a better diet? It is better to give fresh meat. Fresh meat, fresh frozen or barf, so biologically appropriate raw food, um, which means, yeah, that you're giving a cat the diet it needs, right? Other option is nutritious wet food, so where there's plenty of meat and plenty of fat. Cat needs fat. We don't need it as much. Cats do need it. Dogs also need less fat. Cats need a lot of fat to function. So it's very, very important to keep that level of fat going. So what is fresh meat? Usually you will find it in the frozen section of your pet store, or in supermarkets. Sometimes they sell it too. Be aware that you take a cat appropriate diet and not only for dogs. Usually it is okay to feed the dog stuff, but you have to make sure there's taurine in it. So very important to keep that in mind. But there's cat complete mixes that you can use. You have to thaw that, of course. So when you thaw it, it's usually very helpful to put it in like a little bit of with the wrapper in water in like a little box. That way, the fluids inside of the sausage, usually it's like a sausage shape, get sucked into the meat because of the water around it, and then you can take off the wrapper and it's fairly clean, so you don't lose a lot that hangs onto the wrapper. Barf will also mean that you will give like little prey animals, feed little prey animals. You don't have to do that, not at all. The fresh frozens are really good usually to give, so that's a better option. Always make sure that you have enough space in your freezer. That's important, and that you have some yeah, lying around. So you have some stock. Other important, well, disadvantage maybe is that you always have to think about thawing, and then you have to thaw it out. So the evening before, usually. Nutritious wet food. So take care that there is a lot of meat in there and that there's a lot of fat. There's a lot of good wet food on the market. We changed our cats so 4 years ago, more or less, and we started giving fresh frozen food, so complete mixes for cats, combined with nutritious wet food. And we have our 16-year-old who's just sleeping behind my screen. He gets a mix of the two, the nutritious wet food as well. Very high quality wet food, because he just likes to change. Yeah, we have to respect that. They have their individual wishes as well. So we change it up a bit and we change flavors. So he's got a good diet like that. If you have a fussy cat, when you want to make the switch, take it slowly. So you want to split meals. So, for example, you give kibble in the morning, and in the evening you just give the meat. Split those meals. It's better because of digestion. The stomach needs to be more acid to process the meat. So that's a little bit different. Usually most cats don't really get bothered, but if you have a sensitive cat, sensitive in the digestion, you want to be cautious. If you don't have a picky cat, make a sudden change. It's just a lot better for digestion and it works a lot better. So that's easier, actually. We did it that way, just sudden change, no problems. So in conclusion, if we want a happy, playful, sweet cat, we would love to feed them raw food from the start, or a nutritious wet food with lots and lots of meat, so our cats can thrive and can lead a long and happy life. Should you have any questions for me, they are always welcome at our email address. Check out our website for more information, and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting pet videos. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye bye.